The War Chief of Light is back with another epic video. Hi, my name's PvE, but you lovely people are more than welcome to call me Peeps. We're finally doing it. We are ranking the cinematics that Final Fantasy has blessed us with. And I'm gonna be honest with you, there's some spicy takes in there. So, grab your tea, sit back, and we're getting into it. Now there's a few criteria that I'm looking for specifically on top of a bunch of others that really help me pinpoint which video I prefer. Realistically speaking though, actual video quality is not one of them because it's Square Enix. Graphics are what they do and they destroy the market. So we just assume they're all great, okay? So first things first, hype. What hype? As a player, listen, when you're watching these videos, you're being sold a product. Were you excited to buy it? Were you excited to jump into it? Did you want it? And it kind of leads into the second point of marketing. Are you selling your product? Are you putting it in the best light? Are you introducing the player, both new and old? What's going to happen? Is this product worth purchasing? See what I mean? There's a lot of money involved in these cinematics. As much as we would like them to be just for fun and just great, they're selling you a game. So let's be honest, we're going to want that to be part of the criteria. Did they do it well? And lastly, story. They're telling a story with this cinematic. They are telling you either a transition, a change of game, they're introducing you the baseline of a story. They're giving you something to sink your little teeth into so that you can enjoy whatever comes up. So those are all the things I'm really super hyper focused on. And of course there's badassery, there's all kinds of other things. So number 5, Stormblood. That surprises nobody, but I'm not against it. I want to start this being clear. All of the cinematics are fucking awesome. Fucking great. And I'm using that word specifically because they're incredible. Stormblood is no exception. The Kugane section where you're introduced to the big city, the difference of culture. I know I'm in the Americas, I'm Canadian, so seeing that just is so breathtaking. The scene where you're introduced, where he's showing you the job samurai, a little bit of comedy, I love that very much. And this cinematic also falls into that story bit. And you'll see that with others as well. Most of the cinematics are not introducing you to the job of the expansion game, but showing the meteor or transition to it. This one, you see your skills being honed. You see your skills being practiced with Lise, which it's a good fight. It really is. Here's the issues with that cinematic. That fight with Lise, while it is fantastic, it is too long. It goes on for just a stupid amount of time. And again, you're interested in seeing everything else. The Kugane section, because there's so much going on, every moment you're captivated. You're like, yes, show me more. And then you're watching that fight, and it's really just the two characters. I get what they're trying to do and show that the monk job was important and this character was important. But I feel like they missed the mark. To me, a couple good blows would have been good. And this is just me like dreaming. You're gonna see me do this bit. This is me dreaming of the cinematic of my dreams. And what would have been cool is you would have like had a couple blows and then switch to the Kugane section and then come back and, oh, you miss a shot or she gets you or then off to something else and keep doing that until the very end where she nails you one, because remember, she's the monk, you're learning the monk. So she nails you one, and she picks you up, and then she looks off to the horizon, and bam, Stormblood logo. That would have been cool, just saying. They also could have included some of the more darker sides of Stormblood, because Stormblood is a story about oppression. They could have added a little bit of that. You know what I mean? To set the tone. Because I feel like the Stormblood cinematic is very upbeat, very happy, this is our new world. Look at it. It's awesome. Kind of reminds you of Pandaria. Which, that's not a shit on anything. Pandaria is actually my favorite Warcraft expansion. But same genre of, oh, new world. Rather than shit, like we are fighting fucking oppression right now. Just, again, little footnotes. So, all in all, really good, just not as good as the other ones. Number 4, HEAVENSWARD. Now I already know I'm going to eat shit for this, and that's fine. Go ahead. I am ready. Let the comments go. But yeah, HEAVENSWARD is a story of grieving. HEAVENSWARD is a story of being exiled. And the transition into the Dragoon is really, really good. Meteor is lost. He's hurt. He's thinking back to the situations he just went through, which, what the fuck, ARR? What the fuck? And he's looking at the Dragoons, and he's being faced with these badass dragons, which make a cinematic good, badass dragons. So he's faced with these badass dragons, and then he sees these people in the air fighting them. And you can see a little bit of envy, a little bit of... And you see his transition from the warrior to the Dragoon. He accepts his new fate. He understands that he can help these people. And he accepts that new role in this new world. It's really good. Even the exile portion's really good, where they really like hammer it down. This is a really shitty place to be in. I mean, I'm Canadian. You don't have to tell me being in a snowstorm and snow and bullshit like that is bullshit. I understand. I get it. So this cinematic is really good. It's got political bullshit. It's got dragons and dragoons, which I love dragoons. Why is it 4th? It commits a cardinal sin. Remember, this is a product. This is us selling a product. And if you are a new player picking this game up, watching the cinematics, and you watch HEAVENSWARD, you're gonna see some massive motherfucking spoilers. Massive. Ridiculously big. So a cinematic shouldn't have a major game spoiler. It should never have a major game spoiler. Period. End point. You physically watch the Sultanate fall. You physically look at some sexy guy with a missing arm. Like, to me, what would have made that perfect, and again, we're in dream mode again. Imagine Meteor thinking back to the Sultanate in a happier place. The new players would be like, oh. The old players would be like, oh, I like her. I think I would have hit the mark just a little bit more on the point than physical spoilers. So I can't rank it any higher than this. Plus the other 3 are badass. Like, they're so good. So number 3, ENDWALKER. I know, listen, this is a spicy one. I understand. ENDWALKER is a badass cinematic. It is fantastic. It is phenomenal. Okay, let's get that part out right now. One of the things it does differently is there's no transition into a new job. You are a paladin from moment number 1 in that video. You are protecting your friends. Moment number 1 in that video. You are already accepting of that role of tank or of holy character. You're there. Which is kind of nice when you really think about it, because walking into ENDWALKER, you're dealing with the end of the world, and that's all you really want to do is protect your people. So I like the idea. I thought that was neat. I liked the cinematic, how it shows you all the new areas. So Charlene gets this beautiful moment with a beautiful transition of music, which so good, so good. The big moment where our favorite Grumpy Jumpy just off the drag. That's the best part. It's cool every single time. You get to see moments with your friends left, right, and center and see what their thoughts are. I really like that interaction with Udianji and Thancred where like, the end is nigh. It's worse than we thought. Yeah, it is worse. Like, it's the end of the fucking world. It's bad. Grahatia, who teases that there's more secrets here than we ever could know. I like that. The only one I would have cut down a little bit on is Y'shtolas, because her having the conversation with Fulchano, or Crotchano, if you've been on this channel before, Google it. I think that would have been better served if it was a shorter conversation. Because listen, him giving her the stank face, fantastic. Her giving him the snake face, fantastic. All that really needed was that stare and that slamming of the staff. Nailed it. That's all you needed. Perfect. The other thing that I would change of that cinematic specifically is the Reaper job. They introduced the Sage job very well. Comes in, saves the day, great. I would have liked to see less of a certain Ascian and more of a certain Avril Lavigne lookalike. More Xenos. We need more Xenos, okay? Imagine him twirling his scythe, or see the shade come above him in that moment when he's looking at the moon. I think that would have brought more to it, and more, oh my god, the Reaper's badass. I mean, the players know it's badass, but I think it would have sold it just a little bit more. Either way, it is a great cinematic. Fantastic. I just can't rank it above the other two. That's it. Number 2, A Realm Reborn. Now, this is the cinematic that sold me the game. So there's some hype there, a little bit of nostalgia to it. I watched this fucker probably 100 times. I wish I was exaggerating. It's probably close to 100. Every time I watched it, or it would play on the background, I would stop what I'm doing and just pay attention again. This is a story of a party. This is also one of those stories that doesn't follow a job transition, so that's kind of neat too, but to be fair, you're starting at the Battle of fucking Carteneau, so. But as a new player, when you're watching this cinematic, you're watching some kind of a fight. You're watching some people look worried about the fight. You're seeing magic monsters go num num num. You're seeing a party, or what typically looks like a party, a healer, a mage, a person with a bow, which you don't know is a bard if you've never played this game. You're seeing everything start to develop. And then Answers is playing, which Answers all on its own deserves to be number 2 or number 1, because Answers. And then you see the most iconic thing, other than Cloud or a Chocobo or a Moogle, in Final Fantasy's repertoire. Bahamut. If you've played a Final Fantasy game, you can recognize that big black dragon that came out doing badassery stuff. You care what happens to these strangers you've never met. All these people that are going in there and going to war, they're all gonna die to this badass dragon. Like, again, in a matter of 5 minutes, you care about the outcome of these strangers. I cared. I wanted to know what happened next. I downloaded the game. So, just that. I mean, Louis Swan. You have no idea who this old guy is, and you're like, don't die! And you don't get really what's going on, but then you're brought into this world. Nailed it. I can't say it any other way, but they nailed it. I would call this a perfect game launching expansion. But Shadowbringers exists. 1. Shadowbringers. It is perfect. As a new player watching it, and this is the one that kept rolling on my background, so every time I would log out, I would AFK, whatever, this one would keep playing. So I do have that new player experience for the Shadowbringers cinematic. It starts with a fight. You don't know what's going on, but you see a samurai and some guy in big armor. You don't know how it ends, which again, you're avoiding major spoilers, but you don't know how that fight ends. You just see, and then you're walking in the thing, you're thinking back previous expansions. As a new player, that part was a little confusing, but that's okay. And then all of a sudden, this big angelic creature comes out, and it's whooping your ass. And then you're introduced to new zones, you're introduced to a new race. As a new player, I immediately caught that. I was like, oh, the bunnies must have came out this expansion. And the dancer. I knew that. So again, it sold it well. Ulmore, it sold Ulmore to me with the kitties eating the grapes, and it did very well. You were very curious to see what happens, and then at the end, you beat the angel. Everything's good, the music's badass, it's on my playlist. It's legitimately on my regular playlist. And then you watch it as you're starting to get further in the game, and you're like, that fight at the beginning that they didn't spoil is a great fight that leads right into the expansion. The angel Sin Eater, obviously, and then you see the progression of the job that you're starting to go through. You go through every single job Meteor has learned or been focused on as the expansions. And what is so cool is it's a metaphor. It's the idea that all of your knowledge, everything you have learned up to this point is not going to help you. You're failing. You're not going to succeed. Which again, if you've played Shadowbringers, the Warrior of Light will not succeed in this land of light. So good, you need to embrace the darkness and become the Warrior of Darkness. Embracing the Dark Knight. And once you do, Sin Eater dies. So good. And then when you think back to the actual song that you put on your playlist, every single motherfucking word in that song is foreshadowing. It's incredible. It's stupendous, amazing, great. I can't think of more synonyms, but you see where I'm going. Then the moments with the players or your characters that you know. So you've got Master Matoya and Y'shtola. You've got Urianger, who's half naked now, which... You've got Thancred, who's looking much better in this big coat. And is that fucking Minfilia? Wait. He said Minfilia, didn't he? What's going on? We all stopped at that moment. We're like, what? And then at the very end, when you finally beat the Sin Eater, you split the damn sky. A moment that when you play Shadowbringers, that moment when the sky splits, I don't know about you, but my heart was in my fucking ass. Like, it was so big. But I've seen it 100 times and didn't catch it. I'm telling you, this is genius. It sold an expansion beautifully. It told you nothing incredibly. It gave you new areas and stuff like that you were excited to explore, which another little tidbit that I noticed while making this video is when you're looking at Ulmor, you can see the tent city outside of it. That sounds stupid, but the idea is every time I watched it, I didn't catch it. Because you're caught in the beauty of Ulmor, which is a big part of the expansion, being caught up in the beauty and in this... Fuck, man. Nailed it. This is a perfect cinematic, beginning to end. It's my number one by far. But I want to know about your number one. What does your ranking look like? Am I way off? Let me know in the comment section down below. Be nice. I know I was a little spicy. So, a little bit nice. Thank you. If you like what I do, you like the nerdy bits, you like the live streams, shorts, big videos like these, I got it. No worries. Subscribe. Ring that bell. I'm here a lot. A lot. Either way, I'd appreciate you. Check that box. In the meantime, though, thanks so much for being here. Have a legendary day, and I can't wait to see you guys again on the next one. Bye. Let's take a minute and talk about what Yoshi P and Soken did. They took the most legendary song of Answers and made it our good cry song in Endwalker. Listen, if I get you two, I'm going to sit you two down. We're going to have a talk. You owe me like 80 boxes of Kleenexes. Maybe I'm a